Yo, Lito Lolo coming back down to earth here, and the OnlyFans model Lily Phillips decided to embark on a venture that not many have the cojones to do. This quest, some might say, is harder than beating Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 2, defeating Millennia in Elden Ring, or even completing the Espresso mission in GTA 3. Because she managed to take on 100 dudes in one day. An achievement that deserves to be on the Guinness Book of World Records, honestly, until I actually looked up the current record holder, Lisa Sparks, who actually non-mupled that number by sleeping with 919 men in 24 hours back in 2004 when Bush was president. Insane numbers. Now, these are Wilt Chamberlain numbers regardless. This is like Kobe Bryant's 81 game, RP to a legend, and in actuality, Lily Phillips executed 101 sausages in 14 hours. Wow, just amazing. This is really significant and important news for the environmental and political state of the world. I'm telling you, this is BBC stuff right here.
So today is the day where I get run through by 100 guys. How many condoms I have, for fuck's sake.
She was treating this like an actual blue-collar shift. She was out there grinding for that money. I know that had to have hurt by the 25th guy, surely. Hell, this is more boxes than a UPS worker has to deliver on a daily basis.
First group scene done. That was a lot of fun. And now I'm on to number 16.
Currently 7 p.m. About, I think about 70 people.
This has to be one of the longest trains I have ever witnessed, where I could only imagine each guy lined up in an orderly fashion with their pants pulled down and their Johnsons in their hand, waiting for their turn. You know, I can only guess what it was like being number 59 on that roster and knowing that girl's vagina has been through an entire journey even more dire than the one Frodo Baggins was in. I know that room had to smell crazy, just straight ass and semen. After she got done with this daily objective, that room immediately turned into a biohazard, that whenever somebody entered that room, they started taking radiation damage like on Fallout. Now, there was a documentary created by a YouTuber named Josh Peters who covered this topic in depth and, you know, spoke to Lily Phillips through her sensual ventures, and, you know, I took it upon myself to watch it to provide you, the viewer, with a complete understanding on this very imperative situation. I'm telling you, this is way more important than the American economy. Who cares about that? So let's get into it, shall we? A takeaway from this video is that you could call this girl a slut, you could call her a whore, you could call her a cum rag, you could call her a daughter of sin, you could call her a hedonistic courtesan, you could call her a nymph du prairie, if you will, but what you can't call her is broke.
Show you my first month, 13,338.
As you can see, she was able to make 13K her first month on OnlyFans ever from these starving men who have probably been in a drought since exiting their mother's and made so much money in her recent month that she decided not to say just so that she could spare the poors. This equates to 150K per year, which is more than the average American salary, all because she humps pillows and does countdowns from 10. Being an attractive girl with no morals might be the current easy mode meta in this game of life. I'm serious. Now, a very sad realization in this video was when she admitted that some of her fans consisted of people she went to high school with and her father's friends, which is pretty fucked up if you think about it. Imagine lusting over a woman that you used to know as a child. That is probably one of the most revolting immoralities that I could think of. Lily Phillips might have experienced some sort of sexual abuse as a child just based off how easily she is able to dissociate throughout this entire documentary. I mean, she literally did a JOI segment while the documentary was running where she was playing with her. And for anybody who doesn't know what a JOI is, well then, hey, good for you, fella. You're on the right path to enlightenment and have ascended beyond the material world of desires and corn addiction. I'm happy for you, okay? But for people like me, well, it's basically where a woman guides your cock until you finish.
feel a little bit like embarrassed being like, Mom and Dad, I'm 100 guys.
Why?
I guess because it's not really what my parents would have wanted me to do.
Now this is real insider scoop from an honest woman who does OnlyFans. You know, none of that horse manure that most OF models have the tendency to spew, where they pretend that their parents are happy that their daughter gets their bases ran on more than roided out Barry Bonds during regular season. She seems genuinely regretful over what she does and probably compartmentalizes it all and separates it from her family life, which is an obvious trauma response.
I think that's the hard part, and also just the pure fact that people think so much less of you.
Yeah.
Before anyone ever meets you, they already perceive you to be something.
One of the many dark truths of having OnlyFans as an occupation and as a link in your social media bio is that people will in fact think less of you because of it. It's one of those burdens that you are going to have to carry and live with as long as the internet exists. It is the digital footprint that you cultivated. And as long as you are a social media personality, you will be objectified regardless of what venture you decide to go on in the future. You know, if you want to go down the born again Christian pipeline that many promiscuous women have done, well, guess what? You will still be seen as a whore. I guarantee that. So I feel like these women develop some sort of defense mechanism because of that, where they feel like they have to be proud of their profession so that it provides them with a sense of purpose due to the constant conflictions that come from the general public. It's crazy because in order to determine if the 100 guys that she was going to sleep with were clean, she merely asked for a screenshot of their test, like that was enough. As if some crazy stalker dude who had an obsession with her and who's been wanting to fuck her for a long time couldn't have like forged an STI test on Adobe Photoshop. This entire event was high risk for everybody involved. You know, one person could have had HIV and it would have spread like the coronavirus. It would have spread like Gucci third leg spreading herpes across the entire sex industry. Anyways, the main event happened at some random Airbnb. I feel bad for the next guy that's gonna have to rent it out, am I right? Where she started bright and early around 9 a.m. Just ready to fuck. You know, she was locked and loaded. This was like LeBron James Game 7 of the NBA Finals. She had a set goal in mind and wasn't going to stop until she accomplished that goal. Some might downplay her success, but I think she might have established herself as one of the OF GOATs after this one. Build a fucking monument for her, god damn it.
Do we think we're going to get to 100 today?
Yeah, I'm not leaving without it.
I mean, just listen to this dedication. This is like Kobe Bryant, upset that the reporter asked him if he was happy that they won game 1. Like, hey, fuckboy, the job ain't finished. She was determined to hit this goal no matter what, that she even skipped lunch. Her entire diet and protein intake that day was straight semen. For anybody who is downplaying the greatness of this act needs to be psychologically examined, because I guarantee you if we were in her exact same position, we wouldn't have fucking made it past number 5. Martha, why's my dick not working? Martha, I can't feel my dick. I know her had to have felt so in the morning. This is equivalent to maxing out the squat rack on leg day. On top of that, she kept it extremely business casual and made sure to treat each man like a cashier working at Walmart on a busy Black Friday. Next, come on. All right, X, milk. All right, next. All right, yeah. Small dick, but okay. She was fucking men in 5-minute intervals, which is great because all I need is 5 seconds. A definite sign of her disassociating heavily, which is actually sad if you think about it. But at the end of the day, you know, the deed has already been done, so there's not really much psychological depth that needs to be studied here. You know, just a woman who engaged in the sex Olympics and will probably further compartmentalize all her issues for the remainder of her life, at least when it comes to sexual endeavors. Because as she has showcased throughout the entire documentary, is that she is actually moderately intelligent and somewhat aware, unless it has something to do with her promiscuous nature.
Oh, it stinks.
What does it smell like?
Like, brace yourself. Brace yourself.
Oh, holy
shit. I guess it. You actually can. Is that real?
Fuck, the aftermath of that room looks like the room Anakin Skywalker left when he turned to the dark side in Revenge of the Sith. Am I right? A lot of people online, funny enough, somehow managed to make this topic about men and their misogyny. But like, you know, what the fuck? This woman made the decision to have sexual relations with 100 men, where she even hired a team so that they could find proper candidates for her, where some of those guys even dropped out because they couldn't pull through with it. And you know what her and her team did? They found more prospects. Hell, some of these guys' fathers, brothers, best friends, whoever they could find. Fucking STI test. If you had a cock, come here and give it a shot. You know, whose ultimate decision was that? That was her decision. She wanted to fuck 100 guys in one day. And guess what? That is exactly what she did.
I don't know if I'd recommend it.
Why not?
I think if you're a different type of girl, it's very like, it's kind of like being a prostitute in a sense of like, it's just a different feeling. I don't know how to explain it, like just one in, one out, like it feels intense.
Like more intense than you thought it might.
Definitely.
A lot of emotions here. What is it? Is she crying?
Okay, just take
Yeah, 1 minute.
I'm sure this entire lustful fiasco was emotionally exhausting for her. It's like there's a part of her that is possibly regretful of the mattress acrobatics that she partook in, but it's something that she will never consciously admit because that's when the reality demons start to set in. You know, the social perception of her view from this point on will always be skewed, and if I'm going to be quite honest, it does feel kind of dirty. It's like she finally came back to reality and realized what she did was morally grotesque for the vast majority and probably herself as well. You know, it's difficult to pinpoint with great certainty why she felt like she needed to commit this primal venture with men who she didn't even, know. Giving a part of herself to a stranger who will possibly walk away feeling immorally wrong too. Was this due to trauma, hardships that she had to deal with during her upbringing, the need to feel accepted by a male role, vengeance for a fatherly figure, or just because of the money? Regardless, at the end of the day, we all have traumas and deep-rooted issues that we never come to terms with. At least Lily Phillips gets to wipe her tears away with a couple of Ben Franks, am I right? Anyways, that's all for me. I'm off to another dimension. See ya.